Get ready to quit the bill.
Here we go.
The QTB crew is rounding up all the gaming news and hot topics of the week with a little extra something. And here are your hosts, Bruno and Nick.
What it do? Welcome to the QTB podcast. We're so glad you could join us. My name is Bruno, and with me, as always, is my childhood friend and co-host, Nicholas. Arthur, any more Xboxes available?
Yeah, that's the name that I use when I call Best Buy like every day to try and get an Xbox Series X. Trust me, Heather from customer service thinks it's hilarious.
Hi, Heather. Hi, Heather.
Yeah, exactly.
How you doing?
Yeah, you know who this
Calling
is, Heather?
about those Xboxes again.
Yeah.
Well, it's Wednesday for everyone else, but it's Tuesday evening for us.
Yep.
So happy March. It's March. We're into March now.
happened.
So
Yep.
wow.
Oh, hi, March.
We did it. Oh, hi, March. How are you doing? Yeah. By the way, I think we just need to have a whole podcast episode dedicated to The Room and the Disaster Artist because, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's
don't-
something in and of itself. Tommy Wiseau is is visionary the word? I think so.
I think he needs to make a video game.
Yeah. Ooh.
I would 100. Could you imagine like a Scott Pilgrim style? Like The Room adaptation.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Like a side scroller where you go as Tommy.
Right.
I did not hit her. I did not.
Right. It'd be a passive game. Like the goal is to not hit people.
The goal is to not hit. Yep. And just, and make fun of people by saying cheep, 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 cheep. I'm super excited because we're finally into March and we're able to announce our giveaway. We're doing a awesome giveaway every month for our listeners who leave us a review. Whenever they write a review on Apple Podcasts, we actually get a name attached to it. So for those who write us a review, we're doing a giveaway every month from Pierce Unlimited. It's sweet gaming merch like enamel pins and stickers. And today's podcast was sponsored in part by Pierce Unlimited. For marketing media that works and bespoke design to power your business, visit pierceunlimited.com. So Nick, we're gonna be showing the winner and the prize pack on QTB.com, quitthebuild.com. But what we gotta get to the winner verse first. So what do we got here?
And that winner is Marcus1120. Congratulations to you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Leaving a review and you are going to get hooked up with that sweet Pierce Unlimited merchandise. And this is looking pretty sweet. I'm seeing a Super Game Boy pin there and also some sweet stickers. I saw Reptar in there.
Oh, how about that throwback for our 90s kids out there?
Yeah, so Marcus left us a review saying, it's a great podcast if you enjoy gaming. He said good podcasts are plentiful nowadays, but this one is a great casual talk between friends about all the newest gaming news. I really enjoy listening, and with new episodes twice a week, I won't have to worry about running out. Highly recommended. Well, Marcus, we highly recommend that you are a winner.
Woo!
How about that?
How about that?
So send us an email, quitthebuild@gmail.com, and we'll just get verification that is in fact your account, and then we will get that prize pack out to you as soon as possible. And if you want to be a winner, again, just leave us a review, and you'll be automatically entered into our next one. If you submitted a review this month and you didn't get selected, you will still be in the running for future drawings. And keep in mind that we're not saying like leave us a 5-star review. Like we want an honest review of what you think about the podcast, but we think you're gonna love it. Right? I mean, yeah, exactly.
Totally.
We try real hard.
Yeah, that's why you're here. That's why you're listening to us. And without further ado, we have some interesting articles to get into. But first, I think a lot of people, when they hear Quit the Build, they may not know what it means. And so I think it's good every few episodes to just remind our listeners what Quit the Build is all about. And really, we're about just enjoying gaming. Enjoying pop culture, nostalgia, everything that comes with video games and growing up with these awesome games. But the main thing we want to remember is that gaming should always be fun. We don't want to get into this habit where we're rage quitting, we're throwing controllers, we're smashing up things, because as funny as that is to see, it's not really good on our mental health, and it kind of takes the fun out of gaming for not not only you, but like those around you. Like how awkward is it when your buddy is all upset about a game and it's like, bro, chill out. You know, why you have to be mad? It's only a game. It's just only a game. So, first of all, Snoop Dogg has made the news, right?
Yeah, because he did not quit the build.
He did not quit the build. He could have easily quit the build and restarted. And Nick, listen, I saw this.
Yes.
I saw it. I saw what happened.
Oh, boy.
It was rough. Okay. He had first of all, he was playing Madden on Twitch.
Yes.
And he, the screen or the title of his stream was like chill vibes. And so, that's pretty
that sums
pretty on
up
par.
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, right. Yeah, chill vibes. So it must take a lot to get the man upset. And I saw it, and it was pretty dirty. He was the San Francisco 49ers playing the Washington Redskins
football team.
And football team. Yes, they're not the Redskins anymore, but the Washington football team.
Don't make us the wrong kind of trending on Twitter, Bruno.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, they're now the Washington football team.
Yeah.
And it should have been a wipe. It should have been easy for the Niners to, I'm a Niners fan, so I'm all about it. I'm like, go Snoop, you got this.
Right.
But man, he threw an interception when he was right next to the goal line that they were returned for, I don't know, it was quite a few yards, and then proceeded to throw a Hail Mary down the field for a touchdown. And that was it.
That was
like
it. He was done.
That was it for him. He was done.
Yeah, after the second score, and I think once he lost possession the third time, like he just went, and you could tell. I mean, he was already getting kind of salty, like as soon as he walked in.
Yeah.
And, Snoop Dogg, of course, he is really well known for kind of being into Madden and just Xbox in general. It always cracks me up. Sure. I always know whenever Xbox Live goes down for any length of time, we're going to get a Snoop Dogg rant where he just calls these people
Twitter,
out at
right?
Microsoft. Right, like, what are you doing? Fix your game.
What are you doing?
Yeah, we're all waiting to play here. And it's like, man, like he's like an advocate for the people when like online services go down for games, but especially Xbox. And he's a huge Madden guy, and I think he's doing what a lot of, like we were talking about on our last episode, doing what a lot of people are doing, which is celebrities are streaming on Twitch, and it's a cool way to hang out with people and see them that are into gaming, and for them to connect with their fans in a unique way, and he's no different, right? But yeah, it was just, you could see the tension building and building and building with each mistake. And you knew something was going to go wrong. Like, there's no way he was going to make it through, this entire game. And the moment that just, I'm not trying to laugh at his stress, but I mean, there's definitely some comedy to be had here. When he goes to turn off the console, like he's in the Xbox menu to turn off the console. He's one button press away, and he's just staring at the screen. Like, he is silent.
We've all been there. Like debating. Like, I so want to quit this game and just turn it off. Like,
you might, if you want like easy upvotes on Reddit or just go viral anywhere, just do like a video of that where like while he's staring, it goes, what you say?
Now we've got to do it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's you're welcome. You're welcome. I just handed that to you. But
right.
Like, then he backs out. Like, he changes his mind. Then maybe 2 seconds goes by, and then he just goes ahead and shuts it down. And
he said something like, I knew the minute I walked in this room.
He said, I came in this room and everything went bad. But the great part about that clip, the reason, I guess the big reason why it went viral, Bruno, is because after he had his rage quit moment, and it's not like he threw a controller or anything, it was definitely expletive laden. But he just kind of got up and walked out of the room, knowing that it's Snoop Dogg. I mean, he was probably just, continuing to do what Snoop Dogg does, which is getting baked. But he left the stream running for a solid 7 hours, didn't realize that he had not turned off the Twitch stream. And if there's one thing that Twitch loves, Bruno, it's
an empty chair.
It's an empty chair, or just like somebody falls asleep. There's a whole like Twitch like subculture now for people that like find streams of people that fell asleep or left or don't realize that the camera's rolling.
It makes you want to just like try, just to be like, I'm just going to try my empty chair and see what's up.
And just see, how many followers I get overnight, right? But this one went viral, especially because he left for 7 hours. And there was this, it said this chill music and everyone's kind of vibing to it and everyone's having a good time. So if anything, his intention of creating a chill stream was realized after he left the room.
After he literally quit the build by leaving.
Yeah.
He got rid of himself, which, like I said, that's good to know when you're playing a game. If you've reached that point where you're not having fun anymore and you need to just either switch games, turn it off, go do something else. Oftentimes, if when I'm playing Fortnite with Brad or anybody, if we have a string of bad games where it's just like, man, this is I don't know what's up. This is what you need to do, listeners. Next time, literally press start, whatever, quit out of the game. Allow the game to quit and then restart it, reload it. Allow yourself to get on a new server or just allow some time to pass in between matches to reset your mind. And you would be amazed at how many times we've quit the build and then come back and won our next game. And it's that little bit of time. It's that little bit of just centering yourself, resetting your mind and resetting your game that allow you to play better and focus on like, hey, it's just a game. We're here to have fun. I'm not trying to be Mr. Pro Fortnite over here. I'm not going to be able to compete with little Jimmy anyway.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest. Like I'm thrice the age of pro Fortnite player.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not wrong. That window comes and goes quickly.
Yes, very. So this is I'm just going to talk about all those gamers now. And, speaking of Fortnite, I think one of the things that makes Fortnite such an amazing game is because it's got this randomness attached to it. And I think you can do that randomness with other things. When I talk about battle royale games, I have Fortnite in mind, but we've been shown that other games can come to the forefront that aren't about building and dropping into a map, but they're more like a game show, kind of like Most Extreme Challenge.
Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. Yeah.
Most Extreme Elimination. Yeah. That right there was so funny for us to watch in the 90s, like late 90s. And Fall Guys is totally that. It's 100% like Wipeout, essentially. And those little guys running with their little arms.
Oh, yeah. They're so freaking adorable.
They really are adorable in the best way. It's like toddlers running around. But speaking of Fortnite and Fall Guys, Epic Games is now buying Fall Guys creator Mediatonic. What's up with this,
Oh, my
Nick?
goodness. Yeah. So what's going on is they're buying it, like exactly what you said. So this news just broke as of today. We don't know the amount, but both companies made the announcement that, of course, the creator of Fortnite, Epic Games, and of course the owner of their own big game store, is acquiring the video game studio Mediatonic. And of course, right now, that's what Mediatonic is known for, is Fall Guys. If anything, their game, their release, kind of is the poster child for the video game boom that happened during the pandemic, because the game came out, and they were just the right game at the right time, and so colorful and fun. But while still maintaining kind of aspects of Battle Royale, but having enough randomness to it where you weren't really mad if you lost. There's some skill.
I've seen some people get mad. Okay, they've definitely rage quitted over Fall Guys, and we've mentioned this before. But Tim the Tap Man on Twitch TV went like a full month with the game's release before he got a win, and that's saying something for somebody that plays like 8 hours a day.
Oh, I'm sure he went nuclear with all those second place finishes, right?
Definitely. And they're hilarious. Like do you remember those commercials of the it's like Discovery, I think, or not Discovery, excuse me, just the Discover card commercials. That's like, do you pay monthly fees or whatever? And it's like, no. And it's like all those clips of different people saying no.
Right.
And then at the end, it's like Chandler from Friends. He's like, no, like that. Yeah. He just basically redid that commercial and was like, does Tim have a win? No. Just 1,000 times
just no.
So definitely rage quit worthy, but at the end of the day, when these little guys or these little fat chubby dudes are going around saying whoo, whoo, and jumping around and barely moving around like drunken toddlers.
Oh, they're so slow. I love it. And yet there's a Sonic the Hedgehog costume. Makes it fantastic.
Well, I tell you, it's incredible to see something like that because nothing's funnier than that like ragdoll type physics. I think I first saw it in Human Fall Flat, which was just ridiculous in and of itself. You just this gangly little thing running around is hilarious. So to make a battle royale game around that is really interesting. But my question for you, Nick, is what do you think this means for Fall Guys, for Fall Guys' future? Like, we've seen it kind of fall off the map a little bit, right? Like, it's definitely not as popular as when it first came out. So what are we going to see with this new acquisition from Epic Games? What do you think's in store?
I think we're about to see a major second wind for the game. And we were just talking about, with the announcement for Xbox and Nintendo Switch, that we're finally going to be seeing all these consoles that have been wanting to play this game for a while have access to it, and it's going to do very well, especially at that price, $20. But what I see here happening, Bruno, is within the next couple of years, we're going to see a repeat of Rocket League because Epic Games, you may recall, bought Rocket League. They bought out the developer Psyonix.
Okay.
Yeah, so this happened in like 2019. So if anything, Epic has kind of been window shopping smaller developers, kind of doing what Microsoft has been doing, right? And being like, we got to get as many of these easy to acquire but well-known studios in order to bolster our repertoire of games. And that's exactly what they did. So if you recall, when Rocket League came out, it was a pay-to-play game. Rather, you had to pay up front. I want to say it was $20 or $30 when the game first came out. It was cheap enough that I had bought it on both Xbox and PC.
Definitely.
And even bought it on Switch.
And worthy of that too. I mean, for like a $20 game, I'd still pay $20 for it. So the fact that it's free to play now is not even salty to me because I'm like, hey, I mean, it's been out long enough that it deserves to be free to play.
Exactly. And Rocket League is, a game that is still beloved to this day. They continued to keep the core formula, which is a very simple one, without making any major changes to it, but introducing things like battle passes, seasons, and, introducing a lot of the same mechanics that made Fortnite successful while maintaining the same core Fortnite gameplay, right? And so I think they see the same vision for Fall Guys that they see for Rocket League. And to me, I can't imagine them deviating from that formula because it's worked for them already with Rocket League, that they're going to be like, okay, you're going to be, a $20 game. We'll give you maybe a year or two, get your releases on the other consoles. We'll get as many purchases in as we can. And then here we go with that free-to-play flip. You just can't go wrong with a game like that to flip it over to free-to-play because these types of games fully rely on a healthy player base. You can't have that number
100%.
Dwindle, right? So it's a great way to keep people in the tank, keep them playing, which incentivizes people that are willing to spend money to do so, of course, on cosmetics without gaining any advantage. So that's what I at least see in the short term. And I definitely think Epic is going to continue to do exactly what they just did here and kind of scout out those companies that they have a game that they can see working, in the next, within the 5-year plan of that game. To go to free to play and to kind of emulate the success of Fortnite within its own genre.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, it's all about the licensed content. If you're a long time listener, you know that's what I really dig in gaming now. And for something like Fortnite to have so many things. They've got Tron, Ghostbusters, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Stranger Things, Walking Dead, Predator, Alien.
You got it all.
I mean, we Street Fighter now, so
they're talking about Family Guy, Bruno. I'm hearing a lot of whispers.
I've heard the whispers. I don't know if we'll actually see. So I'm wondering if we'll actually see an actual character, and more so like I think they might be a point of interest on the map that has. But I'd be hard pressed to actually see Peter Griffin running around, just because I don't think any of the character models, except for one, there's this like giant fluffy feathered looking creature that I don't really know what it is in Fortnite, but that's the only character model that slightly resembles Peter Griffin. So I don't know how they would actually fit him into the game, lest he was just a point of interest where you can go and hear him laugh about something.
I think you're right, because his hitbox would be all wrong. Like, you can't have a character that doesn't fit like the normal model size. Otherwise, there would be issues with, like, you can't hide in bushes normally, or like people are going to be shooting at what clearly should be you. But, you know, it's not within the hitbox, and you can't give him a bigger hitbox either, because no one's going to buy or play it. It's going to be, you know, underpowered, and Fortnite's not about that. So, but yeah, you know, and you're absolutely right, Bruno, that Fall Guys is already there, right? They've got a Sonic crossover. They've got Team Fortress and Half-Life. They got crossovers for. There's the Scout skin, which is adorable.
Those are the low-hanging fruits for sure, but definitely a start to like, hey, we can do the licensed stuff, and look how cute they are.
And even Cuphead. They just got Cuphead content. Yeah.
Yes. And did you see it was like what was it like? It requires 5 crowns or something to actually acquire.
I guess
which
Tim won't get the set. Sorry.
Oh,
I went there.
That was savage. Poor Tim. He's not going to get the set.
And you know, one other really big aspect to this, in terms of just what Epic is all about. They're about having free-to-play games that are really fun, simple concepts that, you know, that use the cosmetics as monetization. But they're also about crossplay, Bruno, and not just, hey, you can play this game on any console you want. Like, no, you can be on Xbox and party up with somebody, you know, on PC or on Switch. You know, they were one of the first to do that with Fortnite. And when Rocket League came over as well, you know, I think they were already in the process of enabling crossplay. They may have had most of it, you know, already there. And maybe that's what caught Epic's eye of like, hey, we're all about that. But now Rocket League is exactly the same way. You can play and party up with people. If you're on Switch, you can play with PC or Xbox. So that philosophy of let's make games that people can play and enjoy together, regardless of the console or the device they're choosing to play on, and bring them together. And I think that Fall Guys, I can't imagine that won't happen for them in at least the short term. I'm guessing that they probably didn't bother with the PS4 and PC crossplay simply because they knew, you know, behind the scenes that long term it was going to come to Switch and Xbox, but they had to let that timed exclusivity fade out. So, yeah, I think you're going to have another game where, and boy, you know, I'm never going to complain about a good game coming out that gets that crossplay, because there's nothing better than being able to hop on with your friends. And much like Rocket League, you know, the controller is kind of the equalizer, right?
Ooh,
because, you know, Fortnite has had that problem, and many cross-play games have had that problem of and we've talked about this, of controller versus keyboard and mouse, but, you know, Rocket League had that thing where you really needed to be playing on a controller, even on PC, if you wanted to be, you know, in the big leagues or even enjoy the game at all. WASD movement was terrible.
Well, and I think that's with any racing or driving aspect of a game. It's just, that's one of the reasons why I still to this day, if I play a PC game, I automatically hook up my controller to, you know, via USB. And then if you typically there's controls that are already inputted for it, and sometimes it just takes a few minutes to actually customize it, but that's a way better experience to be able to use that than you're right than to have to use a keyboard, which clearly is not fun. I mean, I'm ready for all the crossovers now. I want, and we've already seen, and this is the interesting thing, because Disney owns so many things now.
Yeah.
Like, all you need is to like get permission for like one thing with Disney for you to kind of be on their good side of being able to release other IPs that they own. So they've already proven that with, well, we're going to start it off with Marvel, and then we'll see what it's like with Star Wars, and then a whole Marvel season. And now they have DC, and Fox is owned by Disney now. So I'm excited because I think we'll see, like you said, a resurgence in this game. Oftentimes when there's a timed exclusive for a game, the player base drops off, and so it becomes less of a joy to play and more of a hassle because you're trying to find other people to matchmake with.
Exactly.
And so it becomes just a longer issue of you sitting there having to wait, for a game. So you have to, like you said, you have to have that player base, and Epic knows how to retain a player base and push it forward. And with the release of Xbox coming on Xbox, I think, and Nintendo Switch, it couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah. Because
now they can really say, yes, we're going to have all of these cosmetic items that you can get if you purchase the game. There's already a Twitch Prime deal right now that if you have Twitch Prime, you can actually get a exclusive Fall Guys skin and 3 crowns. So heads up to all those Amazon.
3 free wins.
3 free wins, bro.
We're already winners, Bruno.
You're already winning. Yeah, I could go in there and then I don't have to get 2 crowns to get the Cuphead one, which, let's be realistic, is way more doable than me trying to get 5 wins. So
you would be okay at that game. You would do fine.
I feel like I feel like I might get that a little bit of Snoop in me.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'd get to the end. Like, I've seen so many guys and they're running and you can hear Chariots of Fire in the background.
Oh,
dun,
yeah.
Dun, 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 cha, 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 cha. And then you run and jump and they run and that arm stretches out like Michael Jordan's pose, the famous Air Jordan pose, and they come up short from the crown. And then some guy goes, "Whoo!" right over top
right
of
over
you,
top
and it's
of
like, boom, got it. What? Little Johnny did it again? Come on, bro.
Well,
what is up?
That level is not the good final level. Everyone knows that the true pro final stage is Hexagon.
Hexagons.
Yeah.
And I've seen you on that, and it is brutal.
It's so much fun. Like it looks brutal, but it's a game where you have to be paying attention to like where you're going, but also what's below you and what everyone else is doing. And I mean, there's a couple elements of luck to it, but man, when you get a win, you earn it. There is no, I just happen to be in the right place at the right time. Like, your platforming skills have to be on point. And like I said with Rocket League, a controller's where you want to be with that type of game. So this is going to be just a slam dunk as far as cross compatibility is concerned. Again, we are speculating here. We haven't heard anything finalized, but you got to imagine that as soon as Epic takes the reins of this thing, that's going to be at the very top of the to-do list for this game. Be on the lookout for that. That's probably going to be some exciting changes coming with not just the Switch and Xbox release, but also Epic kind of doing what Epic does, which is putting games in the hands of the people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're definitely looking forward to that. So we'll be right back with more gaming news right after this. Hello, is this Irma Fu...
Fushnik, what do you want?
Of course. Well, Irma, I'm calling to talk to you about podcasts. If you haven't heard, Anchor.fm is the easiest way to make a podcast.
I don't have any money. I don't want anything.
Well, with Anchor, you don't need any money. It's absolutely free, and you can record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
Is this a cult? I don't want any Kool-Aid.
No, ma'am, not that I'm aware of. Podcasts are like radio talk shows for the internet, or talkies, as you might know them.
Listen, young man, I am not that old, but I do remember them, so touche. Whiskers, will you get out of there? Sever me. Clean the cat box. He needs to get a job. 40 is too old to be living with your mother.
Irma, I couldn't agree more. Jeremy could make money from a podcast. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more.
Okay, I'm hooked. No one would listen to Jeremy. He's not very smart. We all know I have the sexy voice that lures the gentleman in like a sexy siren mermaid lures in burly bearded pirates.
Well, you can get started today. Just visit anchor.fm for more details.
And we're back. It's 3:50 in the AM. Somewhere out there, you truck drivers, you desktop jockeys.
I've worked the night shift, and I know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah.
Sometimes you need that. Sometimes, well, and it's hopefully we don't, put you to sleep like smooth jazz or anything,
No.
That was always my favorite station to listen to when I would get my hair cut. I'd walk in and like smooth jazz 105.9.
Yes.
And I would be all over it. I was like, yes, this is hair cutting music.
Give it to me,
people.
Kenny. Yeah.
Give it to me, Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! Dave Kaz in the house. What'd he do?
Jazz references.
Oh, man. So, speaking of jazzy, there's no easy way to segue from
I was going to say, how are you
into-
going to segue from jazz to Grand Theft Auto Online?
Well,
I was
that's
ready.
the beauty of jazz. Jazz can jump anywhere. Free form jazz. So,
Ladies and gentlemen, he's done it. They said it couldn't be done. They said you can't segue jazz to Grand Theft Auto. Bruno.
He did it.
Man of the hour.
I'll accept my award later this year. So thank you for that. And now with being able to accept awards via like Zoom, oh man, I'm all over that because that's always my biggest fear. I don't want to go to the actual award show or anything like that. So I'd always be accepting it via my couch. And I mean, some of those guys didn't even put on tuxes. They were just Jeff Daniels was wearing a flannel shirt.
Like, what are you gonna do? Like, turn off their feed? Like, they're the winner. Like, they've got the floor. Yeah. At the very least, they didn't turn on the cat filter.
Yeah. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah. I'm not a cat.
I'm not a cat. I'm not a cat, sir. I just wanted you to know that. Thanks for the clarification.
But yeah, Bruno, Grand Theft Auto, once again, coming up in the news. And this time for a really interesting reason. So anybody who has played Grand Theft Auto Online, whether it be on console or PC, knows that there is one major flaw to the game, and that is getting into the game.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 12-year-olds with rocket launchers.
Well, we've already covered that. Yeah, and their parents' credit cards.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Mom, I need a shark card. It's cool. Don't worry. It's for my game.
But yeah, so the Grand Theft Auto, has a notoriously long load time. That when you go in and you first try to connect, not when you load into Grand Theft Auto itself, but then when you go into the menu to get into GTA Online.
Oh, it's not that much better to load into the actual game itself, But
yeah, it's a process. Well, they did add eventually that thing where you could, while you're in the load screen, you could push a button and it would reroute you to online. So there is at least that. But yeah, you're still gonna have a bad time because definitely go make some snacks. Because you're looking at usually like a 5 or 6 minute load time that I think has gotten worse over the years because they just added on so much content that has to be brought in. Well, we are learning now through a fan that kind of managed to hack his way into a shorter load time, that load time isn't really necessary.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so what he found out was that there was a simple thing happening during the load where there's this single file, that has all of the data of like in-game, store items and all the stuff that's been added and where you can get it, right? It's constantly checking this file as the game is loading instead of just checking it when the game is done loading. And they say in some instances, this thing is being checked every few bytes, which means that it is scanned billions of times by the game before you've ever even loaded in.
Billions, people.
Billions. That's a crazy number.
That's billions with a B.
Yeah. So he created his own file with optimized code and, installed it into the game files. And he managed to get the load time for the game down to under 2 minutes. Now, it is worth noting that, if you have a bad CPU or, anything that's any other kind of bottleneck when you're trying to load the game, that this may not necessarily give you a faster load time.
Can you still play this on Xbox 360?
Oh, I don't think they discontinued support.
I couldn't imagine the load times on an Xbox 360 right now. Like
I couldn't imagine the frame rate on an Xbox 360, quite frankly.
I do.
It's nuts. Like, these types of games, oftentimes they are a victim of their own success when they go, from generation to generation. I remember playing Final Fantasy XI online with my friends in high school. And that game originally was released on the PlayStation 2. Yes, you heard me correctly. The PlayStation 2.
One of my faves.
Yeah. And then it came out on PC, and eventually it got an Xbox 360 release as well. But the game went on and on and on for over. It's still enjoyed to this day. People love it. It's in the first Final Fantasy MMO, and they kept adding on content. And the content was like the cutscenes were terrible. It all looked really janky. People had to add in their own files to make it look nicer.
You mean a PlayStation 2 era game had janky, terrible cutscenes?
Right.
No way.
And everyone was always like, "Oh, why can't you do like a big overhaul like World of Warcraft and make the game look nicer?" And they're like, "Look, this game still plays on PlayStation 2." Like, we're not just gonna abandon them. I mean, you need like a 55 different accessories to get connected, but you can do it. And I think in a way, GTA Online has kind of suffered from that too. But in this case, though, Bruno, I can't give Rockstar a free pass because look at just all of the money that Grand Theft Auto Online has brought in. It has ushered in a new era of games where we don't get a new Grand Theft Auto every couple years.
We get a new rocket car with missiles
for $25 million in game currency.
Right?
So yeah,
outrageous.
Fire up the Discover card because here we go.
Give me a shark card, Mom.
Yeah,
Mom, give me a shark card. Still asking my mom for shark cards. 34 years old. What do you want for your birthday? So there's these things called V-Bucks in Fortnite, and you can go V-Bucks, Mom. V, and you gotta spell it out.
Yes, V.
I'm just gonna take a picture of it and send it to you so you don't mess it up, okay? Okay, well, I still buy everything at Walmart, so no, that's not my mom. She gets everything from Amazon now.
Oh, okay. I mean, they got them at Walmart.
They do.
Not the shark cards.
Come on. I buy my own V-Bucks. I'm just saying.
Oh, you sure? Oh, okay.
Are you sure?
He is a strong, independent man.
I am.
Yeah. But yeah, just think about the millions and millions of dollars of revenue that has come in for Rockstar, so much that they've completely changed their business model. And we have not seen, even a whiff of GTA 6 yet. And this game has now spanned 3 console generations. That is insane.
Well, and the fact that they haven't adopted a battle pass scenario, like they could have easily gone into that, and maybe they will with the next iteration of Grand Theft Auto, but I mean they've not needed to, like you said, because every few months we get something new, like some rocket motorcycle or some new tank or helicopter or whatever.
New heists, entirely new, section to the game, and new mechanics, and it's very impressive. I mean, there are a lot of things where you're going to need the money. Like if you want a yacht, it's going to hurt. Like But at the same time, there is tons of great content for people that just want to play the game. And I think it's good that we have a game like that isn't necessarily going the battle pass route. I don't want to see every single successful game be like, that's an online service, be like, we have to conform to it. But they've definitely carved their own path and done things their own way. But
so have you seen GTA RP? Have you heard of that?
I've been seeing a lot of controversy over things that are happening in it, but I'm not really privy to the details. What do you know?
So here's the scoop, right? Apparently GTA RP, which stands for role play, is a I don't know, it's like a server or something like that of like GTA mods. It's like a GTA modded server that you can randomly join, and everybody has a role to play. There's like cops, there's managers, there's just like everyday workers and all this kind of stuff. And everybody goes around and they role play these characters in Grand Theft Auto. And it is ridiculously hilarious and absurd to no end, because literally there's grown men in a video game pretending to be like a drunk hillbilly that just that, you know, and it's like, well, you didn't have to act like that. You were already a drunk hillbilly in real life, and now you're just now you know that that's your destiny, sir, because you're living that out in a video game now, like Second Life almost. There are tons of streamers on Twitch that do this. One of the biggest ones is XQC. He was a former Overwatch pro, and he does GTA RP now. And the game mechanics are a little different. Like if you try and steal a vehicle, you have to like it's like a kind of like a quick time event that comes around, and you have to hit a button in a certain sector of a circle, and then it counts down like 3, 2, 1, and then you can actually steal a car. So there's lots of different little mechanics in there. You can steal like items and go turn those into people and get money. You can buy these real world looking cars in there. They've got like a Mercedes AMG. So it is ridiculous, but it breathed new life into this. And now XQC's like pulling in 70-some thousand viewers for him pretending to be some guy named Mr. X on GTA RP. And last night I was watching him, and he like pulls up next to this guy who's, I don't know, just some, you know, fat hillbilly dude who needs a ride, and then accompanies him on his heist where he breaks into this house. And he's like, no, I'm not breaking and entering. This is my friend's house, Rob.
Rob. Well played. Yeah.
So you've got to get on there and see this, because if this is the future of Grand Theft Auto, I'm all about it.
We're in. Right.
Sign me up.
Well, yeah, you know, and it's great to see, you know, communities kind of form around it. Like the modding scene has always been strong with GTA 5 and even GTA 4. People still modding that game. And, you know, but my thing right now with Rockstar is, look, guys, all this money that you've made, and it took one guy to realize that there is a redundancy in your code that could be fixed by one person, because he literally fixed it himself by creating one file that just changed the way that the game, you know, on the client side, scans all the data that the server is providing, you know, in order to shave off 4 minutes of load time. I know that these games make great money, and I know that, you know, developers are always looking, and publishers are always looking to figure out how they're going to make, you know, their next big breakout hit, or continue to support games like GTA 5 that are making big bucks. But you've got to have people in there who are looking to provide quality of life updates, you know?
Yeah.
And I find that to be a little suspicious, that a game that's been doing this well hasn't had some kind of pass to do something as simple as, oh, this file is causing it to take 4 minutes longer to load in some cases. Maybe we should take a fresh look at that. For one fan to figure that out, you know, and I think what's going to be especially embarrassing is if Rockstar doesn't implement it, because this story has gone viral, so that you know that it's come across their desk.
Personally, I think you're right. It is kind of suspicious. It makes you wonder, are they working on other things to where that they don't really have a lot of developers free to address something like this? So that's number one that makes me think, well, maybe they're working on GTA 6 or something else, and they just don't have the capacity to really address these quality of life updates, and instead are really taking a handful of coders and artists to create these cosmetic you know, additions to the game. I don't really know what you want to call them, because they're not just cosmetic, but you know, but then part of me wonders, maybe they didn't realize it. Maybe it's like this idea of, I don't know if you've ever heard this or not, but if you put a frog in cold water and slowly heat it up, you can cook it without ever noticing the difference, because you didn't just drop it into hot water. So I think over the years, we've always expected, well, man, Grand Theft Auto Online has some really long load times. So maybe they've just steadily increased, obviously with every update to the game, that just tacked on an extra 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, whatever it may be. And then that compounded over, like I said, 2012, 13 is when this game came out. So 8 years, Nick, like of updates have gradually turned it from what was a initial 2 minute load time to now something that's like 5 or 6 minutes. So maybe that's what it is. I have no clue. I'm not a mathemologist or a developer, so.
Yeah. So it's the GTA 5 is the second best selling video game of all time. Over its lifetime, it's, and we're still counting, over 140 million copies shipped. And it's one of the most financially successful entertainment products of all time. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
$6 billion in worldwide revenue.
Jeez.
For Grand Theft Auto 5. And if there's ever any wonder...
Just that game.
Yeah.
Wow.
If there's ever any wonder why we haven't seen a GTA 6, there it is.
Really.
Yeah, and they've tried to emulate that success with games like Red Dead Redemption 2 with their online model, and it's not quite working, that they haven't been able to recapture that lightning in a bottle, so it doesn't surprise me that they keep coming back, time and time again to continue providing robust updates to the game. But all I'm saying is, throw your players a bone. When you're making numbers in the B's, then maybe you should have, a simple file that doesn't scan, one thing billions of times as a redundancy when it doesn't need to. And I get it. I see what you're saying about the frog analogy, because this file that's being scanned, like I said, it's all the content in the game. Like it's saying, okay, this gun is sold at this store for this price. And as the game has gotten more and more content, this file has gotten progressively bigger and bigger, which has caused that load time to increase alongside it. So you're right, because I remember when I first got this game for Xbox One, that there was not a 6 minute load time,
No,
but I'm guessing now if I were to log in, I would be definitely disappointed. But once you get into the game, it's not too bad. Like it's kind of a one-off loading screen, which is nice. But it's for that kind of money, I think you can afford to hire one person that's going back in and just looking for those optimizations and quality of life fixes that. Like I said, I think it's a no-brainer for them to be like, hey, thanks so much for that, and to implement it and give credit where credit is due, because if anything, you should be hiring this guy. He's going out of your way to like find, and that's going to make the community happy. Like, there's no wrong price. Like, get that guy.
Yeah, right. Like, and that makes me wonder too. Like, if you're somebody out there who is done something to improve a game, can you like write your own ticket? You know what I mean? Like, I'll take $1 billion for that. Right. Drew, thank you. Like, well, can you, or at a certain, is what becomes of somebody copying that from them internally and being like, well, it's such a gray area of intellectual property and the rights over that. So it's very, very interesting, because I guess technically speaking, with the terms of agreement, you could say, well, anything you do within the game, whether it's modding or not, is property of us, because when you use the game, you in turn agree to these terms, which we've laid out. Yeah. So it's such a tricky thing to do, but you're right. A simple email that says, hey, maybe we could flatter you with your own NPC character in the game, and, or something like that. And you'd be like, oh yeah, sure. Boom. You've got it on there. I want to see more of a fan service from Grand Theft Auto, that people like Epic provide, where sometimes you get these updates like thanking the bus driver that do absolutely nothing to improve the game other than to quell the requests of a bunch of 9-year-olds, right?
It's the pet the dog update. Right, like that's
exactly.
Enough people say pet the dog, and like you're nowadays, you just let people pet the dog. Like if your game doesn't let people pet the dog, you've developed an inferior product, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's all it takes is X to pet. Yep. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We're good.
If I have to play F to pay respects, like, then you should at least let me press F to pet the dog.
Yeah.
So, but I wonder if we'll ever see a more mainstream crossover with some of the licensed content for Grand Theft Auto, or like we talked about in the previous episode, is Grand Theft Auto such a notorious game that the only licensed content we'll ever get out of it will be music? And I'm not saying that that's not enough, because I've mentioned this before, and I will say it 1,000 times, that real music helps create an immersive game, because it feels like it's actually something that exists when you're cruising around listening to Bob Seger, Hollywood Nights, and you're looking at the Vinewood sign. Boy, it feels awesome. Like sometimes I just get in Grand Theft Auto just to cruise around, because I'm like, it's got a banging soundtrack. I can cruise around in a car and get into some trouble. Let's do it. So I wonder, are we ever going to see like a sponsorship from cars, or have they built up this joke of a series? Because that's really what all the cars are. They're like plays on actual cars that we'll never see licensed content in that respect, that maybe we'll only ever see songs, and maybe in the future I could see somebody like a rapper or a basketball or a football player or something like that having their own skin in the game, because they could personally license themselves out. But I don't know if we'll ever see a licensed crossover in Grand Theft Auto that would be awesome.
If Mario Kart can get Mercedes-Benz to do a crossover, because in Mario Kart 8 there are Mercedes-Benz vehicles that you can drive, and they don't fit at all. Like everything else is so cartoony and fun, and it's like, you can drive
and Yoshi and the Mercedes AMG.
Yes. With that it's definitely possible, but who knows the logistics behind it. But one more thing to talk about today, and this is kind of an aside, but I think it's worth talking about, because it's more about TV and movies than it is about games. But we talk about everything on we're about pop culture, we're about tech, we're about it all. So Sony made an announcement today that they are discontinuing their PlayStation Store movies, movie and TV purchases and rentals. So this is a really interesting move. And one, I was just thinking about this the other day about, I have a decent amount of content that of seasons of shows that I have purchased through Xbox, through their video app, where, it's not stuff you own locally, like you are streaming it. So you are dependent on, a server somewhere to be functioning in order for us to, watch that content. One day if they decided to pull the plug, I wonder what would happen to all that stuff, and would I really have enough confidence in them to keep what I have to continue to make purchases in that way? So Sony actually made the decision that they're going to discontinue that option. Now, the good news is that anything that you have purchased through Sony, not a rental, but any purchase that you've made, will continue to be accessible. It's not like you're just going to lose access to all your content one day. They are going to keep it going. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get it forever. And this is the thing, right? When somebody decides to sunset part of their offering, they don't just get rid of it, all of it right away, right? They're not going to say, it's gone overnight. You can't have it. Sorry, we're done here. Bye-bye. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Good day, sir.
Yeah. But, they will make those incremental changes of, okay, well, you can keep what you have. But before you know it, the next move is going to be, we're partnering with, some, like Vimeo or some obscure, internet platform for videos of, you can watch your stuff on there, and just pass the buck on to them. and it gets progressively worse, right? Google Music users were definitely upset by the move that eventually it became YouTube Music. And people do not like YouTube Music, especially the user interface. So they were kind of bamboozled in that way. And it wasn't overnight. It was a gradual process.
First of all, I think it's really interesting because PlayStation, in my mind, started out as the entertainment console. When they first came around, they're like, and we've got a DVD player, and they really touted the Blu-ray player with PlayStation 3. And Xbox 360 didn't have a Blu-ray player. It had HD DVDs. Do you remember that?
That's right. They tried that when there was the next gen, format war. Right, HD DVDs and Blu-rays, and obviously we know who won. There were some
missteps from Microsoft. The Zune and HD DVDs were not great bets.
There are some people who still swear by the Zune. I don't know why, but they love
like
that
Jeep
thing.
Owners.
Yeah, exactly.
There's like a cult following.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've always pegged PlayStation as an entertainment console that has video games, and now I'm starting to see this flip where Xbox has really recognized that people who are on Xbox often use it as a media device to watch Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And they have positioned themselves as an entertainment console. And I think they really did that with Xbox One. They weren't interested in being the premier gaming console. They were interested in being the premier home entertainment console.
Exactly.
And they hit that. Mm-hmm. They did. They 100% are the home entertainment console. And I think with that mentality moving forward, you can clearly see that we're going to have an Xbox app on future smart TVs that you can basically sign in and play Xbox Game Pass games. There's going to be ones that are free for everyone to play, and maybe there's ads or something like that. We'll see something of that nature in the future. But to see PlayStation all of a sudden just drop everything to begin with, it makes me wonder, like, what are they doing? Are they investing more in IPs, or are they just deciding like it hasn't been worth it for us to have this? It just seems weird to me that all of a sudden they would drop everything like this and say, no, we're not going to offer that anymore. Sorry about your bad luck. Like, go get it on, go get it someplace else.
Yeah, that's right. Scram. No, I think, thinking as an Xbox user, there are really cool perks to being able to buy a series, or buy a movie, because the thing, and in their statement, they said that they're seeing tremendous growth from PlayStation users that are using the streaming services like Netflix, YouTube, Disney Plus, all that stuff. And what I immediately think of is, well, yeah, most of those services, though, you're not buying a movie, and you're at the mercy of what's Netflix adding and getting rid of. And there's no certainty anymore, especially after The Office left the Netflix. Like, everyone realizes, like, man, nothing is for certain with the service that I'm currently using, unless it's a show that's exclusive to the platform, like NBC shows with Peacock.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to stay there. But my thing is, and I'll give you an example. I am a huge It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fan, okay?
Yeah.
It's like The Office. I go to sleep listening to this show now. It's like white noise for me. And their format, they're on Hulu, but you can't get their season to stream typically until the following season has started to stream. Or started to air on TV. Yeah. It's not like most shows where it's like the day after you get access to it on Hulu. They're very protective of it. And so I realized quickly that the workaround for that was to pay like the $30 or so that they charge in order to get like a season pass through Xbox Movies and TV. And then literally the day that it airs, I have access to it.
And you have access to it forever.
Forever, exactly, and without commercials, right? So, I from season 10 on, I just, I said, you know what? I love this show enough that I'm willing to put out the $30 because it's going to kill me going a year without seeing the newest season and wondering, what I'm missing.
Yeah.
So, there's a use case for it. And it's concerning to me because, there's still a market for people that want to own movies, that want to own, but not necessarily physically. They just want to have access to their library.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, Nick.
Yeah.
There's still a group of people that like physical media. And like to take the physical media and put it to digital media. Brad's brother-in-law, I think his brother-in-law, Dan, shout out Dan. What's up, buddy? If you're listening, he's been listening. He actually really prefers to own CDs and then put them to a digital thing. So like he loves still buying CDs. So there's still people out there that really love physical media, obviously, because they're still making it. There's still a market for it. And even though Apple and everybody has tried to get rid of disk drives, and now PlayStation and even Xbox are like, oh, well, we have one that maybe doesn't have a disk drive. People still want them because they're like, hey, wait a minute. Like, I need that disk drive. I've got 500 DVDs, right. So there's still a market for that physical media, and people still really dig it. So even though companies have tried to move forward, people are still hanging on to it. So, I mean,
Yeah, it's very interesting, and it's a move where, once again, we're not the people in the boardroom that are seeing the numbers and understanding. I'm sure they just reached a point where their people are like, hey, it's not making money for us, so they said, that's going to be that.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised by that news, that especially in the era of streaming content that we're in right now, and the demand for streaming that has come especially from the pandemic and staying at home, that there isn't more interest in that kind of thing. I mean, to be fair, like in my case, it was a niche thing, right? Like the only reason why I was buying those seasons was because I wasn't getting them fast enough as I would have liked on Hulu. But it's an interesting trend that even digital ownership of media isn't really enough. People just want the instant access, pay the upfront monthly fee and just get access to whatever we happen to give you.
Yeah, and that's the way I am. I'm at the whim of whatever all these different streaming platforms decide to do. I mean, if it doesn't come on Hulu, Netflix, or Disney Plus, then it doesn't exist to me. Although I will say, my mom, I share a YouTube TV account with her because you can have like a guest account or whatever on there, and so she gave me access to YouTube TV, and I watch tons of stuff on there now. My favorite's Ridiculousness, so I'm all about that. And there's like 500 seasons of it, so no, not really, but I mean, there's gonna be 500 seasons because when people are doing stupid stuff, and we've got cameras now, we're gonna film them and we're gonna put it on the internet. So that's what we do with our podcast, except we talk to you guys and you listen. And
well, we are available on one streaming platform, Bruno. We are on YouTube. Make sure to stop on by. Yeah, just search for Quit the Build there, and you'll have access to our podcast. If you like to take them in video format, we do have those for you. And highlight clips and so much more are standing by for you. And, of course, don't forget to check out quitthebuild.com. We've got, of course, our awesome blog articles, community page, all sorts of great merchandise. Bruno, we've got the Martinsburg Earth Ploppers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
the T-shirt.
Bro, because I'm telling you, if you're not globetrotting, you're Earth plopping. That is their motto, the Dirtyburg Earth Ploppers. Yeah. One of the funniest things you've ever said to me. I had to go ahead and feature that clip on the community page so just people know what we're talking about here. Yeah. And that's part of the awesomeness of being having a partner like Pierce Unlimited that is able to put out designs like this. The Squag t-shirt looks awesome. You just showed me you got a Squag t-shirt and the Quit the Build logo t-shirt, which looks amazing.
Wearing it right now.
Oh, hey, look at that.
I wish you could see.
You wish you could see. Well, you can see if you go to quitthebuild.com/community. You can see all the merchandise that we have right there available and get access to all of our social social platforms. We're on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and we have a Discord that you can join and chat with some other like-minded folks and gamers. So we have got an awesome community, and we couldn't do it without our amazing listeners out there. Thank you again for everyone who has left a review on Apple Podcasts. Be sure to go and write a review if you haven't already, because you can be a winner like Marcus. This month, we are giving away another awesome merchandise giveaway from Pierce Unlimited. It's going to be another enamel pin, some stickers in there. So I hope you guys are excited. But until Saturday, for Nick, I'm Bruno.
And for Bruno, I'm Nick.
Peace out. What it do?